Pyrotechnic chemicals, how the air becomes fuel. Can fire be used as an economic weapon? Let's take a look at how engineered wildfires reshape land ownership and financial markets. While mainstream media frames wildfires as climate-driven natural disasters, a deeper look reveals a far more sinister agenda. These catastrophic infernos are not just the result of dry weather and high winds. They are being deliberately engineered through a combination of chemical fire accelerants, geoengineering, and directed energy weapons. But why? What is the end goal of intentionally burning down entire communities, displacing thousands, and leaving nothing but smoldering ruins in their wake? The answer is clear. Engineered wildfires are a tool of economic warfare. They serve as mechanisms for corporate land grabs, financial destabilization, and the forced transition toward elite-controlled smart cities. By analyzing post-wildfire economic trends, insurance manipulation, government buyouts, and the financial power structure behind these disasters, this section will reveal how fire is being weaponized to consolidate wealth, displace populations, and accelerate globalist control. The land grab agenda? Who really profits from burned-out communities? Well, I bet you can take a pretty good guess, but stay tuned and I'll guide you closer as we go. The mass destruction caused by wildfires creates an opportunity for powerful corporate and financial entities to seize land at bargain prices. This is not a conspiracy theory. It is a well-documented pattern that repeats after every major wildfire disaster. Fire clears the land for corporate developers and smart cities. After wildfires, governments impose building restrictions, making it too expensive or impossible for residents to rebuild. Corporations and real estate developers move in, purchasing burned land for a fraction of its original value. Pre-planned smart city projects often emerge exactly where fires have cleared out communities. Examples: Maui's Lahaina fire in 2023 and now the Los Angeles fires in 2025. Before the fires, government officials pushed for a smart city initiative in Lahaina, and now we know they did the same for Los Angeles as well. After the fires, residents were prevented from returning, while major investment firms began acquiring land. Survivors received lowball buyout offers after having their fire insurance cancelled just weeks prior, further evidence of an orchestrated land grab. FEMA and government buyouts leave survivors with nothing. Instead of helping residents rebuild their homes, FEMA and government agencies offer cash buyouts. These buyouts are often well below fair market value, forcing displaced families into permanent financial ruin. Who benefits? Large corporate developers, government-backed land trusts, and smart city investors. This pattern has been observed in California, Australia, and other fire-prone regions, all coinciding with plans for future climate-resilient communities. The insurance scam. How wildfire victims are financially crushed. While wildfires physically destroy communities, insurance companies ensure that survivors are left financially destitute. Wildfire insurance payouts are being denied or delayed. After major fires, insurance companies increasingly refuse to pay homeowners. Claims are denied under loopholes such as act of God clauses or alleged non-compliance with new fire codes. Survivors are forced into foreclosure, allowing banks to seize their properties. Rising insurance premiums make it impossible to rebuild. Even if homeowners receive payouts, they often cannot afford to rebuild due to skyrocketing insurance premiums. Many insurance providers are pulling out of fire-prone areas, leaving entire regions uninsurable. This forces people to sell their land at steep discounts to developers and investors. Example: the Paradise Fire in 2018, California. Many survivors were denied insurance payouts while others faced years-long delays. Rebuilding was financially impossible for most homeowners. Corporate land buyers moved in, acquiring properties en masse. The pattern is clear and deliberate. Engineered wildfires not only displace people but financially destroy them, ensuring that only the wealthy elite can afford to reclaim the land. The fire economy and globalist financial control. Wildfires aren't just about land acquisition, they are also massive financial opportunities for the elite. Wall Street and global banks profit from fire disasters. Investment firms like BlackRock, Vanguard and State Street acquire burned-out properties at steep discounts. Banks issue climate disaster bonds, allowing investors to profit from wildfire-driven economic shifts. The IMF and World Bank offer disaster loans, forcing nations into economic dependency after climate catastrophes. FEMA and disaster relief as a corporate money grab. Wildfire relief funding is funneled to politically connected contractors rather than directly helping victims. Millions are spent on government contracts for climate resilience projects benefiting defense and construction firms, carbon credit markets and the climate taxation agenda. Wildfires are used to justify carbon credit trading, allowing corporations to profit from artificially created climate disasters. Governments push new carbon taxation policies, claiming that fires are proof of the urgent need for climate intervention. This financial system ensures that engineered wildfires generate profit for the elite while devastating the working class. The forced transition to smart cities and digital control. Engineered wildfires are not just about profit and land theft, they are part of a much larger strategy to restructure society. Smart cities as the post-fire solution. After wildfires destroy communities, the government promotes smart cities as the answer. These cities are built with AI-controlled infrastructure, mass surveillance, and digital ID requirements. Survivors are forced into smart city developments where they no longer own property and live under totalitarian regulations. Climate lockdowns and carbon control. Fire-driven climate disasters justify extreme government regulations, including carbon-based restrictions on travel, energy use, and land ownership. The push for 15-minute cities where movement is tightly controlled is accelerating in fire-prone regions. Private land ownership is being erased, replaced with government and corporate control over all resources. The UNWEF and globalist organizations are behind the shift. The World Economic Forum openly supports smart city development in post-disaster zones. The United Nations Agenda 2030 framework encourages the relocation of populations under the pretext of climate safety. Major financial institutions, including the IMF and BlackRock, control the funding for rebuilding efforts, ensuring globalist dominance over fire-damaged areas. Wildfires are being used as an excuse to force society into a controlled, digitized prison system where every aspect of life is monitored and restricted. Fire as a tool of financial and social engineering. This section has demonstrated that wildfires are being engineered to force people off their land, paving the way for corporate takeovers. Insurance companies and government agencies work together to deny survivors the ability to rebuild, leaving them financially ruined. Global banks and investment firms profit from the destruction, acquiring land at bargain prices. Disaster capitalism ensures that wildfire-driven economic collapses serve as financial opportunities for the elite. The ultimate goal is to transition survivors into smart cities, where their freedoms will be restricted under climate and security regulations. Hit the bell to follow, share the video, and subscribe so you won't miss out on Chapter 5. The fires that shouldn't have happened, where I'll include an extension on the Los Angeles wildfires of 2025. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfire. Stay tuned for more, and please stay awake. Welcome to Inferno Unleashed. The dark science behind geoengineered wildfires. Chapter 4. Pyrotechnic chemicals, how the air becomes fuel. The military's role in atmospheric manipulation. The modern wildfire crisis is often portrayed as a result of climate change and human negligence. Yet beneath this mainstream narrative lies a far more unsettling reality, one that implicates the military-industrial complex, government agencies, and private defense contractors in a decades-long experiment involving atmospheric manipulation, chemical dispersal, and fire acceleration. The intersection of geoengineering and military operations has transformed our skies into a battlefield, where chemical compositions designed for warfare are now seemingly used in an engineered campaign of destruction. Through deliberate atmospheric alterations like stratospheric aerosol injections, military weather manipulation programs, and directed energy technology, the perfect conditions for catastrophic wildfires have been created. These technologies are no longer theoretical. Declassified documents, whistleblower testimonies, and forensic evidence reveal a systematic effort to alter climate conditions and prime entire regions for firestorms. This chapter delves into the undeniable role of the military in this crisis, breaking down its history of weather warfare, the deployment of incendiary chemical compounds, and the direct connections between geoengineering and recent wildfire disasters. Throughout history, manipulating the weather has been a powerful tool in warfare. From the cloud-seeding missions of Operation Popeye during the Vietnam War to the advanced ionospheric heaters like HAARP, governments have been experimenting with altering atmospheric conditions for decades. Operation Popeye marked the first documented instance of weather warfare. From 1967 to 1972, the US military embarked on a covert mission to extend monsoon seasons over North Vietnam. The objective was clear: increase rainfall, cause flooding, and disrupt enemy supply routes. Initially classified, the program was later unveiled through congressional hearings, revealing that weather modification had been weaponized half a century ago. Key elements of Operation Popeye included cloud seeding with silver iodide. Aircraft dispersed silver iodide particles to trigger heavy rain. Disrupting supply chains, flooding enemy trails and roads created logistical nightmares for opposing forces. The birth of military geoengineering. This initiative paved the way for future weather modification technologies, extending beyond warfare into climate control. Operation Popeye aimed to enhance precipitation, but today's military programs have advanced to manipulate droughts, intensify storms, and even create environments prone to wildfires. Declassified military research on weather control unveils a trove of government and military patents, showcasing active endeavors in weather modification. These documents reveal the use of chemical-based accelerants designed to alter environmental conditions. These technologies are not mere speculation. They are documented in official records. Among the key patents is US Patent 5,318,675, titled Stratospheric Wellsback Seeding for Global Warming Mitigation. Filed by the US military in 1990, this patent describes dispersing aluminum oxide and other metal particulates into the atmosphere. Although presented as a climate cooling measure, aluminum oxide is a known fire accelerant, increasing the combustibility of vegetation and soil. Another significant patent is US Patent 4,686,605, Method for Inducing Combustion Using Directed Energy. Filed by the Department of Defense, this patent details how energy beams can ignite airborne particulate matter. This aligns eerily with reports of strange pre-fire flashes, satellite anomalies, and selective destruction of buildings. Then, there's HAARP and plasma-based weather manipulation covered under US Patent 5,041,834. HAARP's ability to alter atmospheric conductivity raises serious concerns about its potential to create artificial dry conditions and amplify wildfire intensity. This patent describes the capability of using electromagnetic energy to superheat regions, essentially preparing landscapes for fire ignition. These patents demonstrate that weather manipulation is not just a military concept. It is an active reality with direct implications for today's climate disasters. From chemtrails to firestorms, the role of stratospheric aerosol injection is crucial. The presence of aluminum, barium, and strontium in wildfire debris is far from natural. These metals are frequently cited in geoengineering programs, known for their combustive properties when exposed to high temperatures. Discover how stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, contributes to the spread of wildfires. Whistleblowers like Kristen Megan, a former US Air Force environmental specialist, have confirmed aerosol spraying over fire-prone areas. She has revealed that these metals are deliberately released into the atmosphere through classified programs. Air and soil tests in these regions consistently show skyrocketing levels of aluminum oxide, which significantly increases the flammability of vegetation. Chemical fire enhancement. Aluminum, a potent thermal conductor, allows fires to burn with unnatural intensity. Barium nitrate, a key component in military-grade incendiaries, accelerates combustion. Strontium compounds sustain high-intensity flames, making these fires resistant to traditional suppression methods. Forensic fire analysis confirms military-grade compounds. In the aftermath of California's Camp Fire in 2018 and Maui's Lahaina fire in 2023, independent environmental tests revealed alarming levels of fire-enhancing metallic particles. Some samples contained thermite-like compounds, a signature of pyrotechnic accelerants. This data completely contradicts the climate change narrative, suggesting that these wildfires are deliberately engineered, not just the result of rising temperatures. The defense industry and fire-based warfare. The military's role in fire manipulation extends beyond geoengineering. Enter directed energy weapons, or DWs, along with fire-starting drone technology, now both commercially viable and militarized. Weaponized fire technology, what the military is hiding. Lockheed Martin's laser-based ignition systems are at the forefront of this technology. Originally developed for combat, these laser weapons can start fires from miles away. Designed for missile interception, their fire-starting capabilities have been tested in wildfire-prone regions. Enter Raytheon's Firestorm project. Raytheon has developed automated wildfire ignition drones, claiming they are for controlled burns. However, if weaponized, these drones could trigger rapid, uncontrollable firestorms in targeted areas. BlackRock's investment in fire disaster recovery is also noteworthy. BlackRock and Vanguard, two financial giants, own significant shares in geoengineering companies and fire-related defense contracts. These corporations profit from both disaster and recovery, fueling the cycle of fire-based warfare. Conclusion: the coordinated agenda behind wildfire manipulation. The military's involvement in atmospheric engineering, fire acceleration, and disaster capitalism is well documented, yet heavily suppressed. The combination of chemical dispersal, weather modification, and energy-based ignition systems points to a highly coordinated effort to manufacture climate disasters. This is no longer speculation. It is a controlled system of fire warfare that benefits a select group of corporations, defense contractors, and policymakers. The evidence is clear. Aluminum, barium, and strontium are being sprayed into the atmosphere. Fire ignition technology is in the hands of military contractors. Land acquisition, climate control policies, and smart city developments all benefit from these disasters. As these connections continue to emerge, one thing is certain: wildfires are not what they seem. The war on nature is not just a theoretical battle, it is an engineered catastrophe unfolding in real time. Hit the bell to follow. Stay tuned for more of what they don't want you to see. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, available now in the Amazon bookstore. Now for the rest of Chapter 4. How the air becomes fuel. Discover the chemical cocktail that's transforming our forests into tinderboxes. The deliberate alteration of our atmosphere's chemical composition has transformed entire ecosystems into fire hazards, just waiting for a spark. While the mainstream narrative often blames climate change for the increasing intensity of wildfires, forensic evidence suggests a different story, one involving the widespread dispersal of incendiary chemicals through geoengineering programs, industrial waste disposal, and covert military operations. The presence of aluminum, barium, and strontium in wildfire-prone areas has already been confirmed. However, recent research and independent testing have uncovered an even more alarming array of fire-enhancing compounds, including lithium fluoride, lead, phosphorus, and other incendiary agents, many of which are directly linked to military, aerospace, and industrial waste management programs. In this section, we uncover the hidden pyrotechnic elements systematically released into our environment, turning forests and urban areas into chemical firebombs, ready to ignite at the slightest spark. Today's wildfires burn hotter, spread faster, and exhibit unnatural combustion behavior. The root cause, a toxic blend of chemicals designed to amplify fire intensity and make suppression nearly impossible. Lithium fluoride, the silent combustion agent. Lithium fluoride is a highly reactive metal salt used in military pyrotechnics, rocket fuel, and advanced battery technology. It lowers the ignition temperature of organic material, making forests, grasslands, and urban infrastructure far more flammable. When combined with fluoride ions, lithium creates a conductive plasma that interacts with electromagnetic fields, suggesting a possible link to directed energy weapon, DW, targeting lead and heavy metals. The toxic fire booster's lead is frequently detected in wildfire debris, despite not being naturally abundant in forest environments. Heavy metal aerosols bind to organic materials, creating long-lasting fire accelerants that burn at higher temperatures. Lead oxide, when exposed to high-energy radiation or laser pulses, can trigger ignition at a molecular level. Phosphorus-based incendiaries. The napalm of the atmosphere. Phosphorus is widely used in military-grade incendiary weapons such as white phosphorus bombs. When released in aerosol form, phosphorus compounds react with oxygen and moisture in the air, creating highly flammable environments. Wildfire zones where phosphorus levels spike before ignition suggest a coordinated chemical preconditioning process. Magnesium and thermite-like compounds. Magnesium is a highly combustible metal found in military flares, explosives, and incendiary devices. Thermite reactions, aluminum plus iron oxide, have been detected in wildfire residue, indicating that industrial and military-grade incendiary materials are present in burn zones. These compounds generate self-sustaining fires capable of melting steel, vaporizing concrete, and resisting traditional fire suppression techniques. Each of these chemicals, when combined with geoengineered aerosol dispersal programs, creates an atmosphere saturated with highly flammable particulates, transforming forests into chemically primed fire zones. Forensic fire evidence, unnatural burn patterns, and chemical residue. Firefighters, forensic analysts, and independent researchers have observed highly abnormal fire behavior in recent wildfire disasters. These fires often display heat intensities and ignition patterns that defy natural combustion processes. Case Study 1, the 2018 Camp Fire in Paradise, California. Homes and vehicles were reduced to ash, yet surrounding trees remained partially untouched. Molten aluminum and glass were discovered at the scene, indicating temperatures far higher than those of natural wildfires. Aerosolized metal particulates were detected in the debris, suggesting the presence of fire-enhancing compounds. Case Study 2, the 2023 Maui Firestorm in Lahaina, Hawaii. The firestorm burned vehicles and buildings at extreme temperatures, yet curiously, plastic trash bins and blue-colored objects remained untouched. Eyewitnesses reported seeing blue flashes in the sky before the fire ignited, suggesting high-energy ignition sources like DWs interacting with metal-saturated air. Additionally, residents were prevented from leaving the burn zone, raising suspicions of premeditated population control measures. Case Study 3, the 2019 to 2020 Australian wildfires. The intensity and rapid spread of these fires defied all previous wildfire behavior. Pre-fire aerosol analysis detected elevated levels of aluminum, barium, and phosphorus. Government records revealed smart city redevelopment plans for many burned regions, suggesting a land-clearing agenda. These case studies provide clear forensic evidence that these fires are not natural. Instead, they appear to be pre-planned ignition events fueled by chemical dispersal and advanced military fire-starting technology. Could geoengineering programs be a smokescreen for secret industrial waste disposal? One of the most startling theories about geoengineering is that stratospheric aerosol injections might be a method to covertly dispose of toxic industrial waste, all under the pretense of climate intervention. For decades, major corporations have been illegally dumping hazardous chemicals into oceans, rivers, and landfills. With the rise of stringent environmental regulations, these corporations had to find new ways to dispose of their toxic byproducts. Enter aerosol spraying, a potential global waste disposal mechanism. Metallic byproducts from industrial manufacturing. The aerospace and electronics industries generate large quantities of aluminum, lithium, and magnesium waste. Instead of incurring the high costs of hazardous waste disposal, these materials are repurposed as geoengineering aerosols. Coal fly ash and heavy metal dumping in the atmosphere. Coal-burning power plants produce millions of tons of toxic ash containing barium, lead, and arsenic. Instead of storing it in landfills, corporations mix it into geoengineering sprays, resulting in increased atmospheric deposition in fire-prone areas. Pharmaceutical and biowaste disposal. Some reports suggest that pharmaceutical waste, including expired drugs and biologically reactive compounds, may be atomized and aerosolized. These airborne toxins could be contributing to the rise in neurological disorders, cognitive impairment, and respiratory illnesses in regions frequently exposed to geoengineering fallout. This controversial theory finds support in whistleblower testimonies, industrial records, and the undeniable presence of industrial waste byproducts in wildfire-prone regions. Who stands to gain from the chemical firestorm industry? The financial incentives behind these engineered firestorms are staggering. Stay tuned for more Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, proudly brought to you by Publishing Zombie. Don't go anywhere. We have a lot more what they don't want you to see. Who stands to gain from the chemical firestorm industry? The financial incentives behind these engineered firestorms are staggering. A vast network of corporations, defense contractors, and globalist institutions reap significant profits from chemical dispersal programs and post-fire land acquisitions. Military and defense contractors play a pivotal role. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon, and Boeing are at the forefront, developing and deploying advanced chemical dispersal and ignition systems. Through black-budget military projects, classified funding is utilized to enhance atmospheric warfare capabilities. Big tech and the smart city industry. Wildfires paved the way for smart city infrastructure, creating space for digital IDs, surveillance grids, and carbon rationing systems to be implemented. Tech giants like Google, Microsoft, and Amazon hold numerous patents related to climate control and digital urban development. Insurance firms profit from mass payouts and denied claims, while BlackRock and Vanguard seize the opportunity to acquire burned properties at bargain rates. Meanwhile, the IMF and World Bank step in, offering climate disaster loans to indebted nations, ensuring they maintain financial control over these targeted regions. The engineered wildfire crisis is not just an environmental catastrophe. It is a pre-planned mechanism for economic and societal restructuring. Conclusion: the air itself has been turned into fuel. This section has revealed that beyond aluminum, barium and strontium, other incendiary chemicals, including lithium fluoride, phosphorus and lead, are being aerosolized. Forensic evidence from major wildfires confirms the presence of industrial fire accelerants. Geoengineering may serve as a covert means of industrial waste disposal, with toxic byproducts being sprayed into the atmosphere. A vast network of corporations, military agencies and globalists are profiting from this destruction. Hit the bell to follow. Stay tuned for more of what they don't want you to see. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, available now in the Amazon bookstore. Now for the rest of Chapter 4. As mounting evidence reveals that geoengineering and chemical dispersal programs are fueling wildfires worldwide, one glaring question persists. Why are governments and regulatory agencies not only permitting this but actively shielding those responsible? The answer lies within a maze of legal loopholes, classified national security policies, and corporate immunity protections that ensure aerosol spraying and fire ignition programs evade public accountability. These laws were not created overnight. They are the result of decades of government treaties, military secrecy, and corporate lobbying, designed to protect those who profit from engineered climate disasters while suppressing those who seek to expose them. How legal loopholes allow geoengineering to continue unchecked. Despite mounting evidence of metallic aerosol spraying, stratospheric aerosol injections, and chemical fire accelerants being released into the atmosphere, legal barriers prevent any serious investigations into these activities. The UN's Weather Weapons Treaty, enacted in 1976, prohibits the use of weather modification for warfare purposes. However, the treaty contains a significant loophole. It only bans weather modification for hostile purposes against foreign nations. Domestic weather modification programs, including geoengineering, remain completely legal under this treaty. This means that the United States, Canada, Australia and other nations can legally deploy geoengineering and fire-enhancing aerosols on their own populations, as long as they frame it as climate research or environmental protection. The U.S. National Defense Authorization Act, or NDAA, allocates black budget funding to classified programs, including weather modification, aerosol dispersal and energy-based ignition systems. Because these programs are labeled as national security operations, Freedom of Information Act requests are routinely denied. U.S. Code. Title 50, Chapter 32 allows the government to conduct chemical and biological experiments on the public, as long as they are deemed necessary for national security. Aerosol spraying, geoengineering programs, and chemical fire accelerants fall under this legal protection. Victims of exposure have no legal recourse as these operations are classified under the Defense Threat Reduction Agency. These laws provide a blanket defense for geoengineering and chemical firestorm programs, making them untouchable in court. Corporate immunity. Why is no one held accountable for chemical wildfires? Even when it's proven that chemical dispersal has caused or intensified wildfires, corporations and government agencies remain shielded from liability. The Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act, or PLCAA, enacted in 2005, was originally designed to shield weapons manufacturers from lawsuits. Over time, its scope has broadened to include defense contractors involved in chemical dispersal programs. Companies like Lockheed Martin, Raytheon and Boeing, all of which are engaged in aerosol spraying and ignition technologies, are protected from being sued for damages caused by their products. In 1980, the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation and Liability Act, or CERCLLA, was enacted. This law exempts companies from responsibility for hazardous waste disposal if the materials were released under a government contract. Geoengineering programs that aerosolize industrial byproducts such as aluminum oxide and barium are thus shielded from legal action. The use of shell companies and defense contractors is a well-known strategy. Many chemical dispersal programs are run by front companies, making it nearly impossible to trace liability back to the true culprits. Instead of government agencies, private defense contractors carry out the actual spraying, providing political leaders with plausible deniability. This legal framework ensures that no corporation, government body, or military entity can be held accountable for the environmental devastation caused by geoengineering. The suppression of whistleblowers and independent researchers is a troubling reality. Brave individuals who have tried to reveal the truth about geoengineering and chemical-based wildfire acceleration have faced severe consequences. They are often silenced, discredited, or even eliminated. Government gag orders on atmospheric scientists. Atmospheric researchers at NASA, NOAA, and the EPA have been issued gag orders silencing them on aerosol dispersal programs. In 2015, several U.S. federal scientists were prohibited from testifying before Congress about geoengineering operations. The official reason given? National security concerns. The deaths and disappearances of weather modification whistleblowers. Several whistleblowers who exposed classified weather modification programs have met untimely and suspicious ends to their careers or more. Dr. J. Marvin Herndon, a renowned geophysicist, published groundbreaking research linking coal fly ash to geoengineering aerosols. Shortly after his publication, he faced severe backlash, being blacklisted from scientific journals and having his funding abruptly revoked. Matt Landman, a passionate geoengineering activist, encountered numerous threats and saw his documentary Franken Skies shadow banned from major platforms. Dr. Rosalie Bertel, a physicist and environmental scientist, issued stern warnings about HAARP and geoengineering weaponizing the weather. Tragically, she died suddenly after publishing her alarming findings. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. Stay tuned. We will be back with more of what they don't want you to see. Welcome back to Inferno Unleashed. Big tech censorship and algorithmic suppression. Platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Google actively suppress content related to geoengineering, directed energy weapons, and chemical wildfire acceleration. Whistleblower testimonies and independent research are flagged as misinformation and demonetized. Search engine algorithms bury websites and videos exposing weather modification programs, ensuring that mainstream narratives dominate. The suppression of whistleblowers is not random. It is a coordinated effort to keep the public in the dark. How intelligence agencies use disinformation to dismiss chemical wildfire evidence. When evidence of metallic aerosols, directed energy weapons, and chemical fire accelerants comes to light, intelligence agencies swiftly deploy disinformation strategies to discredit it. Debunking narratives to misdirect public inquiry. After the devastating 2018 Paradise Fire, media outlets were quick to dismiss directed energy weapon theories as mere conspiracy nonsense, without ever addressing the peculiar anomalies in the burn patterns. The 2023 Maui firestorm followed a similar narrative. As soon as researchers linked the fire to geoengineering and directed energy weapons, mainstream outlets were quick to dismiss it. The deployment of paid trolls and psychological operations, or psyops, is widespread. Intelligence agencies utilize online trolls and bots to target independent researchers. The internet is flooded with fake fact-checking articles crafted to discredit whistleblowers. The issue of controlled opposition within the climate change movement is more significant than many realize. High-profile climate activists like Al Gore, Bill Gates and Obama, funded by billionaires, champion the climate change narrative, but conveniently ignore the role of chemical fire accelerants. The destruction caused by wildfires paves the way for green energy initiatives, pushing the agenda of transitioning to smart cities. This form of psychological warfare ensures that even with overwhelming evidence of geoengineering and firestorm engineering, the public remains distracted and misinformed. Conclusion: the legal and intelligence cover-up of chemical wildfire engineering. In this section, we have uncovered that international treaties and domestic laws protect geoengineering and chemical aerosol programs from public scrutiny. Defense contractors, private corporations and government agencies enjoy legal immunity from lawsuits related to fire-enhancing chemicals. Whistleblowers who reveal the truth about geoengineering and DU-driven fires face threats, silencing or worse. Big tech platforms and mainstream media collaborate to censor and discredit evidence of chemical-based wildfire engineering. Intelligence agencies use psychological operations to manipulate public perception, ensuring geoengineering remains dismissed as a conspiracy theory. Stay tuned, there's more they don't want you to see. Hit the bell, share this video far and wide, and subscribe to our channel. Publishing Zombie is proud to bring you Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, available now in the Amazon books. To be continued. Don't miss the next chapter. Subscribe now and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Like, share and follow to stay updated. There's much more to uncover. You can also order your own copy of Inferno Unleashed, the dark science behind geoengineered wildfires, available now in Amazon bookstores.